Hey YouTube, it's Rebecca, and I am back with the next chapter from a Game of Thrones, Dany. They put her full name, but I can't say it, and I'm sick of embarrassing myself, so I always embarrass myself. Let's get real here. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go Dany. Anyway, what happened this chapter? Last time we were with Dany and her brother, the asshole, I assumed she went off and married this guy named Khal Drogo very quietly. Khal, I'm pretty sure, is like king in his language, but they're just in this place. It's not the Seven Kingdoms. They're not in the Seven Kingdoms. They're like somewhere else. And they're having a wedding ceremony, and basically everyone in the country came out and had this massive party, and people were just like having sex on the dance floor. So kind of like a high school prom, but it was a bird. Yeah. Not really, don't worry. Much more R-rated than that. And when two guys tried to like have sex with the same woman at the same time, one of them killed the other, like sliced him open, and all his like guts spilled out. And they're like, meh. It's not a really good wedding until 3 people die. And she's like, this must have been a really good wedding because a dozen more men died. And I'm like, 13, unlucky number, but you know, it's whatever. And so then people gave Dany her gifts. And these are important. I can just feel it, so. Where is it? Here we are. So, her brother, like an asshole, gives her 3 servants. Like 3 ladies in waiting, basically. One of them to teach her how to ride, another to teach her how to talk in the new language, and the third to teach her how to have sex. And I'm like, you're nice. Yeah. So that happened. Somebody gave her a bunch of books in, like, her language. Someone else gave her 3 eggs. Dragon eggs, and they're the dragon stones. And that's, like, their animal, the way the Starks of the direwolf and everything else, they're the dragons. Because she keeps repeating this chapter whenever she's scared. I'm the blood of the dragon. I'm the blood of the dragon. And I'm like, oh, Dany. So 3 huge dragon eggs. They're like petrified, and so she's like, I'll treasure them forever. They're gonna shatter at some point during the series, and it's gonna devastate Dany. This is just prediction. People gave her some weapons, which are gonna get used at some point. And then somebody gave her a horse, or her husband gave her a horse, her new husband. And she's like a freaking ninja horse. She's like the best freaking horse ever. She's like, tell Khal Drogo that he has given me wind, and all I could think about was, passing gas, but that's because I'm 14, and surrounded by 14-year-old boys all day. Yeah, it's whatever. And also we learned that even though Khal Drogo says he cannot speak the common tongue, which is basically English, he can say one word, and it is no. And so they were going off to consummate their marriage, and he's like, no. And she's like, what? You speak English? And he's like, no. And she's like, what the hell? Is that the only word you know? And he's like, no. And I'm like, dude. And she, like, undid his braid, which is, like, apparently cultural in some way of, like, oh, it's like letting your hair down. But I'm bummed. See the pun there? That was funny, because it was letting your hair down, like you're gonna have a party, and he actually literally let his hair down. Funny. Okay. And so he, like, started to, like, undress her, and she's like, ugh, don't look at me, and he's like, no. And she's like, no? And he's like, no. And they're just having this entire conversation consisting only of the word no. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. And so she's, like, really scared, like a normal girl. She's like, And then this made me laugh because I'm 14 and immature. So he, like, started, like, touching her, and she's like, hey, that feels nice. And he's like, no? And she's like, yeah. And then they started having sex, and it made me lose some respect for Dany, because I'm like, he is old, and you're basically a whore to him, and so I'm like, don't let him touch you. He's saying no, and you should be like, no, get away from me, you're creepy. Dany. Arya's not my favorite character, for all of you who are like, Arya's gonna be the bossest thing you've ever seen. John's chapters are boring, so he's not gonna be my favorite character. Dany just had sex at age 13. You guys are all gonna say it wasn't her fault, she didn't have to, or it wasn't her fault, she was unwilling, and I'm like, even though her brother pimped her out, the guy was like, no, and she's like, yeah. So I'm like, Loss of respect. She's still my third favorite character, but if John's chapters continue to be boring, she'll be like my fourth favorite character again, or second favorite character. Yeah, I do that. I rank stuff. Anyway, the next chapter is Eddard, so we're gonna be back with the Starks. Maybe we'll actually be going to like the South River Run or wherever they are, and it'll be awesome. Hopefully. Hopefully it's not another chapter of angst, angst, angst. That's my friend's forte, not me. Anyway, did you guys like the quick update? Yeah, I said I was going to update by Wednesday, and then I did. How awesome is that? Yeah, I'm squeezing this in between homework and stuff, but I got it done. I'll see you Friday or Saturday with the next chapter. My history teacher was like crazy and just gave us like 7 assignments in one day, all due in a week, and we're like, eh. So I might not have a lot of time, but I'm hoping Friday or Saturday I'll eventually throw down my homework in disgust and vlog. So I will see you Wednesday or Friday. Be there.